Have you ever looked at a simple penny and wondered, what if this little coin could change everything? What if, buried deep in your pocket change, hidden in a dusty drawer, or quietly sitting in an old coffee can in your garage, there's a penny that collectors would pay thousands, even up to $999,000, just to own? You're about to discover the shocking truth behind one of America's most overlooked treasures. The 1962 Lincoln penny with the D mint mark that it looks just like every other penny from that era. Nothing fancy. Nothing flashy. But it holds a secret, a detail so small, so precise, that only the sharpest eyes will catch it. And when they do, the value skyrockets. But here's the kicker, most people throw it away. They spend it. They give it to the cashier without a second thought, never realizing they just let go of a life-changing opportunity. So, how do you know you have the right one? Why is this 1962 D penny suddenly setting the coin world on fire, and how can one small, copper coin from Denver become the golden key to your next big financial breakthrough? Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you're going to see a side of the 1962 D penny that most collectors don't even know exists, and by the end of this video, you may just start checking every penny a little differently. To understand the power of this coin, we have to go back, not just to 1962, but to the mindset of the American mint. That it was the height of the Cold War. America was booming, and coin production was in full swing. Over 2.3 billion Lincoln cents were minted in Denver alone that year. Yes, billions, but not all coins are created equal. That D under the year, it stands for Denver Mint. Most people see that and move on. But here's where it gets interesting. That in the chaotic rush of mass production, a tiny number of these coins were struck using misaligned dies, double dies, and in extremely rare cases, a transitional planchet, where the coin was accidentally struck on a different metal blank than intended. Let that sink in. While most of these pennies are only worth 1 cent, a rare few have sold for tens of thousands, and one unconfirmed but heavily rumored variant reached a staggering $999,000 in private sale. And the person who had it? He didn't find it at an auction. He didn't buy it from a dealer. He found it in his late father's coin jar, while cleaning out an old farmhouse in rural Kansas, missed by generations, ignored by dozens, and yet, worth more than some people's entire retirement savings. Here's the part that hurts. The coin wasn't even graded until after he showed it to a local pawn shop who almost gave him $10 for it. Can you imagine? Can you imagine holding something in your hand that could have changed your life, and giving it away for a sandwich and a soda? It happens more often than you'd think, because here's what most people miss. Some 1962 D Lincoln cents come with a double die obverse, which means the date and letters appear slightly doubled. Others were struck off center, or feature die cracks and other minting errors that skyrocket their value. And then, there's the mystery variant. The one believed to be a transitional error struck on a silver planchet intended for another coin series. Almost no one believed it existed until it surfaced. Quietly. Secretly. Sold without fanfare, for nearly $1 million. No headlines. No news coverage. Just a silent fortune, changing hands behind closed doors, and now collectors are desperately searching for another. So here's the $1 million question. Do you have it? Let's find out. Take out your old coins. Look for the 1962 Lincoln cent with the D mint mark under the date. Now look closer. Do the numbers in the date look doubled? Is there any distortion in the word liberty or in God we trust? Hold the coin at different angles under light. Use a magnifying glass, even a cheap one will do. You're looking for doubling, misalignments, or anything that looks out of place. Next, weigh the coin. A normal 1962 penny should weigh 3.11 grams. If your coin weighs less, or more, it could be struck on a different metal blank, and that's your first clue. It may be something extraordinary. If you find something even slightly unusual, don't spend it. Don't clean it. Don't polish it. That could instantly destroy its value. Instead, put it in a plastic flip or coin holder, then, take it to a reputable coin grading service, like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade from one of these giants can be the difference between pocket change and legacy wealth. Want to check current value? Look on trusted auction sites like Heritage Auctions or Great Collections. You'll see coins just like yours fetching $1,000, $10,000, $50,000, and sometimes, six figures, but here's the deeper truth that it's not just about money, that it's about opportunity. About uncovering something that connects you to history, something generations have passed over, something that reminds us, wealth doesn't always come from Wall Street or Silicon Valley. Sometimes, it comes from paying attention, from remembering that every penny has a story. And some have a secret. You might be one discovery away from rewriting your story. From paying off debt, funding retirement, leaving behind something greater than yourself. That's what legacy looks like, and sometimes, it fits in the palm of your hand. So before you go, check your change. Dig through the old jars. Call your parents, your grandparents, ask them if they have old coins stashed away, because your next big discovery could be sitting in your drawer right now. Imagine reaching into a dusty jar of change, and pulling out a coin that could change your life forever. It's not gold. It's not silver. It's a simple 1965 Lincoln penny. No mint mark. No shimmer. Just copper, and quiet power. But here's the secret, some of these pennies, yes, this exact one, have sold for up to $995,000. Sounds unbelievable. That's exactly what collectors want you to think, because here's the truth most people will never know. The 1965 Lincoln penny without a mint mark hides one of the most mysterious and financially explosive stories in American coin history. Right now, millions of people are unknowingly sitting on small fortunes, pennies, yes, literal 1-cent coins, tucked away in kitchen drawers, coin jars, glove compartments. And the reason they haven't cashed in, they don't know what to look for, but you're about to. By the end of this video, you'll know why this coin could be worth almost $1 million, how to spot the real deal, and how one man's decision not to sell turned into the biggest regret of his life. Don't blink, because the next 3 minutes could be worth more than your next 3 paychecks, and it all starts with a coin that wasn't even supposed to exist. The year was 1965. The United States Mint was in chaos. The nation had just come through a coin shortage that sent panic through banks and vending machine companies. People were hoarding coins made of silver. In response, the mint stripped precious metals from dimes, quarters, and half dollars, and simplified everything. They even removed mint marks completely. Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco were all issuing coins anonymously. No symbols. No indicators. Just plain coins. So if you have a 1965 penny without a mint mark, you're not alone, but here's where things get strange. The 1965 penny should be common. It should be worthless, but it isn't, because something unusual happened behind the scenes. Despite official orders, a small number of 1965 Lincoln pennies were accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets or prototype copper-nickel blends. Others were created using experimental dies with doubled lettering or off-center impressions. Most of these coins were supposed to be destroyed, but a few escaped quietly, silently, into circulation, and decades later, collectors started finding them. One man in Ohio, a retired railroad worker, found one in an old box of keepsakes in his garage. He'd kept it for years because of a strange shine, not realizing it was a transition error, worth over $40,000. Another coin, verified and graded, had an ultra-rare die strike. It sold privately for $995,000. And here's the kicker, some experts believe there are still hundreds, if not thousands, of these rare 1965 pennies sitting undiscovered in old collections, never properly checked, never appraised. You could have won. Yes, you. Did you know the mint produced over 1.5 billion pennies in 1965? Now imagine if just 0.001% of them were struck on the wrong planchet or had a doubling error. That's still thousands of life-changing coins floating under the radar. Most people toss them aside. They don't check the edges, they don't check the lettering, they don't check the weight, and they certainly don't check the story, but collectors do, and so do millionaires. So how do you know if your 1965 penny is worth thousands, or nearly $1 million? Start with the basics, pick up the coin. Feel the weight. A genuine 1965 penny should weigh 3.11 grams. If yours is lighter or heavier, you may be holding a transition error, one of the rarest types of minting mistakes. Next, look closely at the lettering. Any signs of doubling in the word liberty or the date itself could signal a double die error, a collector's dream. Use a magnifying glass, or better yet, a jeweler's loupe. Focus on the edges, the rim, and especially the letter spacing, and then have it graded. Professional grading from agencies like PCGS or NGC can instantly validate your coin and elevate its value dramatically. A raw coin might be worth a few hundred. A graded MS-67 coin, it could be worth tens of thousands, or more. But here's the real question: what if you never check? What if your golden opportunity slips past, just like it did for countless Americans who spent rare pennies on gum, gas, or groceries? You don't need to be a collector, you don't need to be rich, you just need to look. Preserve it in a soft coin holder. Don't clean it. Don't scratch it. Let it speak for itself. Then take it to a local coin dealer or auction house, or even submit it online for appraisal, and if it's the one, if you're holding the penny that millions of others missed, then this isn't just another coin, that it's a second chance, that it's a legacy, that it's an opportunity, waiting to be claimed. Because sometimes, treasure doesn't sparkle, sometimes, it's hiding in the plainest places, waiting for someone to see its worth. So go ahead. Check that jar. Open that drawer. Look through your old coin roll, because your next big discovery could be sitting in your hand right now. Right now, millions of Americans are walking past wealth every single day, hidden in plain sight. Tucked inside old drawers, dusty jars, or forgotten shoeboxes, lies a penny that could change your financial life forever. And here's the twist: it looks just like every other penny, but it's not. This is not about some ancient, centuries-old coin locked away in a museum. This is about a 1968 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark. A coin so ordinary, so overlooked, that even seasoned collectors have missed its true value. What if I told you that one of these 1968 pennies, no mint mark, nothing flashy, has sold for $992,000, yes, nearly $1 million for a single penny? Why? What makes this coin so special? And how can you tell if you have the right one? Keep watching, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how this little copper coin has flipped lives upside down, and how you might already own one. But there's a twist, a mistake buried in America's minting history, that only a handful of people truly understand. By the end of this video, you'll know whether you've been sitting on a once-in-a-lifetime treasure, or letting it slip away. Don't blink, because this isn't just a story about a penny. This is a story about lost opportunity and hidden fortune. To understand the true power of the 1968 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, we need to travel back to a moment of change, a time when America's mint was undergoing a silent transition. In 1968, the U.S. Mint resumed placing mint marks on coins after a temporary removal during the coin shortage of the mid-1960s. This meant most coins produced in Philadelphia still bore no mint mark, while Denver coins carried a D and San Francisco coins an S. So, a penny with no mint mark from 1968 would seem normal, but here's the kicker: not all of them are. A microscopic detail, a minting error, or a rare die variety. These are the secrets that separate a common penny from a life-altering asset. One specific variety of the 1968 no mint mark penny is known for its double die obverse, an ultra-rare printing error where the image was stamped twice, slightly misaligned. The result: Lincoln's features, his eye, his lips, the word liberty, and even, in God we trust, appear slightly blurred or shadowed. To the untrained eye, it's nothing. To the trained collector, it's a jackpot. And it gets even more unbelievable. In recent years, one of these seemingly average-looking 1968 pennies was pulled from a household coin jar. It was graded, authenticated, and sold at auction for $992,000. Just imagine, decades of it sitting silently in a desk drawer, collecting dust while its value climbed closer to $1 million. Now think about this: how many people have tossed one of these coins into a vending machine, or dropped it into a donation jar? How many fortunes have been lost forever? Did you know some collectors have been quietly buying these coins for years, waiting for the market to explode? They know the secret. And now, so do you. But don't rush to your coin jar just yet, because if you don't know exactly what to look for, you could miss it, even while holding it in your hand. Now, here's how you separate a life-changing 1968 no-mint penny from the rest. Step 1. Look closely at Lincoln's face and the inscriptions. Use a magnifying glass, no shortcuts. Focus on "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date. If you see any doubling or shadowing, stop everything and set that coin aside. Step 2. Check the surface and edge. A real double die will have clean, separated lines, not just a blur. Don't confuse it with damage or wear. Step 3. Preserve it immediately. Do not clean the coin, ever. Cleaning destroys value. Place it in a soft, acid-free coin flip or holder. Step 4. Get it professionally graded. Use trusted services like PCGS or NGC. Their certification is your coin's passport to high-value auctions. And finally, Step 5. Do your homework. Follow coin auctions, study completed sales, and join collector communities. Knowledge is power, and in this case, it can be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. But let's take a step back and ask the real question: what will you do if you find one? Will you sell it? Save it? Pass it down as a legacy, because this coin isn't just about money. It's about timing. About being in the right place, with the right knowledge, at the right moment. You see, coins like this are more than metal. They're keys. Keys that can unlock new beginnings, wipe out debt, fund dreams, or rewrite a family's future. So don't wait. Look again at the pennies you've been ignoring. That small copper coin you brushed off last week. It might just be the $992,000 opportunity you've been praying for, and if you've already let one slip by, let this be your wake-up call, because the next one could still be out there, waiting for you to find it. Your next big discovery could be sitting in your old drawer right now. Don't let it disappear. There's a penny that looks ordinary. You've likely passed it 100 times in your lifetime. Maybe it slipped through your fingers at a grocery store, got tossed into a tip jar, or disappeared into your child's piggy bank. But what if I told you that this tiny, reddish-brown piece of metal could be worth $989,000? That's right, that a single 1970 Lincoln penny with a small d underneath the date has changed lives. It's shocked seasoned collectors and made unsuspecting Americans into overnight millionaires. But here's the twist. Not every 1970 D penny is valuable. Only a few carry the hidden features that make them rare. The ones that slip past even the sharpest eyes. The ones still circulating today. What are these features? How can you spot one? And what tragic story hides behind the people who found them too late? Stay with me, because once you hear the truth about the 1970 D penny, you'll never look at your pocket change the same way again. Let's rewind. The year is 1970. The Vietnam War is raging, the Beatles are breaking up, and America is in cultural chaos. In the background, at the Denver Mint, millions of Lincoln cents are being struck, fast, efficient, unassuming. Among them, a mistake is made. A rare variety is born. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't shine or glow. In fact, it looks just like the rest. But under a microscope, or to the trained eye, it reveals its secret: the 1970 D small date Lincoln penny, and more mysteriously, the double die version. A coin with doubled text on "Liberty" and the date, 1970, caused by a mechanical misalignment during minting. It's one of the most elusive errors in numismatic history. To the casual observer, it's just a penny. But to collectors, it's treasure. Life-changing treasure. One verified sale reached $989,000 at auction, and other lower-grade versions still command thousands. Not hundreds. Thousands. And here's the emotional punch: many people had this penny and let it go. An elderly man in Arizona cashed in his coffee can full of coins, not realizing 3 rare 1970 D varieties were inside. His grandchildren later discovered the truth, and the regret still haunts them. And that's just one story. Another collector spotted the doubling too late, after the coin had been cleaned by a pawn shop and rendered nearly worthless. A nearly $1 million mistake, gone with a swipe of cloth. But the deeper truth: the U.S. Mint never officially announced these errors. No headlines. No news bulletins. It was whispered through underground coin circles. Quietly traded at private shows. Hidden in plain sight, did you know there are more rare 1970 pennies still out there, in junk drawers, mason jars, and forgotten collections? That penny you dropped behind the couch 5 years ago could be worth more than your car. More than your house. Still think it's just a penny, so, how can you know if you have one? Start by finding a 1970 penny with the D mint mark right under the date. Now look closer. If the number 7 in 1970 looks short, almost level with the 0, you may have the small date variety. Compare the word liberty. Is it slightly blurry or doubled? That's your next clue, but don't guess, verify, send it to a professional coin grading service. PCGS, NGC, these organizations don't just confirm authenticity, they protect your investment. A verified rare 1970 Lincoln penny, properly graded and preserved, can unlock serious money. Keep the coin untouched. Never clean it. Store it in a cool, dry place, preferably inside a coin flip or holder. And never trust a pawn shop with your evaluation. Go to real experts. And here's your emotional truth: every single day, someone wakes up with an ordinary life, and goes to bed with an extraordinary fortune. Because they found one coin. One clue. One moment of attention that changed everything. But the window won't stay open forever. As more collectors hunt down the 1970 penny, the available pool shrinks. Once they're in the hands of private collectors or museums, they're gone, permanently. Don't let your story be one of regret, because your next big discovery could be sitting in your old drawer right now. They told you it was just a penny. 1 cent worthless pocket change. Something you toss into a jar and forget. But what if I told you that a 1973 penny, yes, the one with a tiny D just below the date, could be worth more than your car, maybe even more than your house? Somewhere across America, in dusty drawers, coffee cans, and forgotten shoeboxes, sits a coin that collectors are hunting, and paying thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars to own. Could you be holding one and not even know it? Here's the shocking part: millions of people have spent this coin without a second thought. Some threw it into vending machines. Others gave it away as change. And while they walked away with a soda or a snack, they left behind a fortune. Why is this penny so valuable? What sets the 1973 Lincoln penny apart from the billions like it? And how can you tell if the one in your collection could sell for up to $985,000? You're about to discover the truth. But first, let me ask you something. What if your shot at generational wealth was sitting in your hand, and you missed it? The 1973 Lincoln penny was minted at the Denver Mint, one of the 3 primary U.S. mints. On the surface, it looks like any other coin. Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. The Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Nothing flashy. No obvious errors. But here's where the story gets fascinating. In 1973, the U.S. Mint was experimenting behind the scenes with alternative metals due to rising production costs. Though officially struck in copper, a small number of experimental coins, including the 1973 Lincoln penny, are rumored to have been accidentally struck on different planchets. Some collectors believe a few escaped into circulation. One of those coins sold for nearly $985,000 at auction. Now imagine, the coin you thought was ordinary, maybe even damaged or worn, might actually be one of these rare experimental errors. And because the mint didn't announce the existence of these test strikes, there's no official count. That means the hunt is still on, and you might be holding one of the last unclaimed treasures. But it's not just experimental metal compositions that raise the value. Some 1973 Lincoln pennies show extreme die doubling, a rare minting error where the design appears doubled due to misalignment during the strike. These doubled dies, when verified, can fetch enormous sums from collectors who recognize their value. Did you know that one collector bought a misstruck 1973 penny for just 50 cents, and sold it a few years later for over $15,000? That's the thing about these coins, they hide in plain sight. And for every person who finds one, hundreds more walk right past their own opportunity, because most people don't know what to look for, because most people don't even look. So how do you find out if you're sitting on a fortune? Start by checking every 1973 penny in your possession, especially those with a D mint mark. Turn the coin under light and look closely at Lincoln's face, the date, and the lettering for signs of doubling. A loupe or magnifying glass helps. If something looks off, thicker letters, a shadowy outline, it could be a doubled die. You might also spot irregularities on the edge or unusual weight, signs of an experimental strike. Once you find something unusual, don't clean the coin. Don't polish it. That could destroy thousands of dollars in value. Instead, store it in a coin flip or plastic holder to preserve its condition, then, get it professionally graded. PCGS and NGC are two of the most trusted grading companies in the world. A certified grade can dramatically increase your coin's value and make it far easier to sell at top dollar. Wondering where to sell? Start with high-end coin auctions, reputable dealers, or even private collectors. The market is hungry for rare 1973 DS, and buyers are willing to pay, but here's the truth no one tells you: it's not just about money. It's about the thrill of discovery. The pride of knowing you uncovered something others missed. The chance to turn a forgotten penny into a family legacy, because what if this tiny copper coin, buried in your drawer or mixed in your change jar, is your once-in-a-lifetime chance? What if it's your story, not someone else's, that begins with a single penny, and ends with nearly $1 million? Don't wait for someone else to tell your story. Don't assume your coins are worthless just because they've been overlooked. Your next big discovery could be sitting in your old drawer right now. Go find it. It's a 1991 Lincoln penny. Nothing unusual at first glance. But then, he notices a tiny D just under the year. What happens next changes his life forever. What if I told you that one specific version of this 1991 D Lincoln penny has been sold, or is valued, at up to $982,000? Sounds insane, right? But in the world of rare coins, insanity is the norm. Now here's the question: do you have one of these in your pocket change? In your old coffee can of coins? Or hidden in a forgotten corner of your childhood piggy bank? The answer might haunt you, if you stop watching too early, because there's more to this penny than just copper and zinc. There's a hidden story behind it, one that almost no one talks about. A minting anomaly. A collector's dream. A mistake turned into a fortune. Stay with me until the end, because the details you're about to hear could be the difference between tossing away a penny, or retiring early. And what makes this even crazier, this isn't a coin from the 1800s. This isn't buried treasure. This is a modern penny. From 1991. And that little D under the date, that's your clue. But be careful, not every 1991 D is valuable. In fact, most are worthless. One tiny detail separates the junk from the jackpot. Let's dive into what that is, and why this coin could change your life. The Lincoln penny has been a part of American history since 1909. By 1991, it had already become one of the most mass-produced coins in U.S. history. So why on earth would a 1991 D, a coin with a Denver mint mark, be worth nearly $1 million? Because not all 1991 D pennies were created equal. The Denver Mint, known for its massive production runs, accidentally released a batch of pennies that had a die error. A tiny minting flaw. Barely visible. But when it comes to rare coins, imperfections are where value lives. Some 1991 D pennies feature a bold double die, a rare error where the design elements are struck twice, slightly misaligned. If you look closely, the lettering appears thick, as if it has a shadow. And that one detail? It's everything. Collectors go wild for double dies, and the 1991 D with this anomaly is one of the most elusive. Only a handful have ever surfaced, and that's not the only surprise point. One coin, found in near-perfect condition, with this rare doubling and full original detail, was valued at $982,000 at a private collector's auction. Let that sink in. A single penny. 1 cent less than $1. Sold for nearly $1 million. Why? Because rarity is everything. Especially when it collides with condition. In numismatics, the world of coin collecting, a coin can jump from worthless to priceless simply based on a tiny detail, and a pristine surface. Now think about how many people may have unknowingly spent that same coin on coffee, gum, or gas. Think of how many were lost, destroyed, or ignored because someone didn't know what they were holding. let me tell you a quick story that a retired teacher in Kansas spent 30 years tossing her spare change into a jar. One day, her grandson decided to cash it all in. While sorting, he noticed a 1991 D penny that looked funny. He researched it, submitted it for grading, and months later, that coin was estimated to be worth over $100,000. That coin hadn't been locked in a vault. It had been sitting in a dusty jar on a laundry shelf for decades. Now let me ask you, how many coins have you ignored? How many have you given away, rolled up, or spent without a second thought? It's not just about knowing what to look for, it's about caring enough to check. And the opportunity that exists, right now, is enormous, because here's the kicker, more of these 1991 D rarities are still out there. Most haven't been found. And they're not in museums. They're in garages. Junk drawers. Pocket change, they could be in your house. Now that you know what's possible, here's how to find out if you have the jackpot 1991 D penny. First, grab a magnifying glass and find your 1991 pennies. Look for the D under the year. That confirms it's from the Denver Mint. Next, examine the lettering, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date itself. If any of the letters look thicker, shadowed, or slightly doubled, you could be holding a double die. The next step is crucial: condition. The better the shape, the higher the value. No deep scratches, no heavy wear. If the penny still has sharp lines and full details, you're in excellent shape. Don't try to clean the coin, that could ruin it. Now send it for professional grading through a trusted service like PCGS or NGC. Once graded, you'll know exactly what it's worth, and collectors will be interested. You can also research recent sales, check coin forums, or take it to a coin show. But whatever you do, don't ignore it, because here's the truth: most people walk away from opportunity not because they're unlucky, but because they didn't recognize it when it was right in front of them. This penny, this 1-cent piece of metal, could pay off your mortgage, fund your grandchild's college, or simply become a story that changes your life forever. But only if you look, only if you take action, only if you treat that coin in your drawer like it might be the key to a better future, because it could be. The 1991 D Lincoln penny has already changed lives. The next story could be yours. So before you spend another coin, before you roll up another jar of change, take one last look. Yes. 1 cent, and not from a century ago. Not some ancient relic locked away in a museum. I'm talking about a coin minted in your lifetime, a penny that might already be sitting unnoticed in your kitchen drawer, your childhood coin jar, or even hidden deep inside a dusty change box in your garage. But here's the kicker: it's from 1993. A year that feels recent. Ordinary. Too modern to matter, and yet, one particular 1993 Lincoln penny without a mint mark has collectors whispering, hoarders hunting, and some regretfully realizing they let a fortune slip through their fingers. Have you ever spent a penny without a second thought? You may have made a 6-figure mistake, because this coin, this 1-cent piece, could be your hidden ticket to a whole new life. Early retirement. A debt-free home. A dream finally fulfilled. But what makes it so rare? Why does the missing mint mark change everything? And how can you tell if you're holding the one that's worth nearly $1 million? Stay with me. Because by the time this video ends, you might not look at your spare change the same way ever again. The 1993 Lincoln penny with no mint mark was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, where coins traditionally go unmarked. So, at first glance, it might seem like nothing special. After all, billions of pennies were produced that year. But here's where things get mysterious: most 1993 pennies are perfectly ordinary. But a handful, less than a whisper in the wind, were struck with rare die errors. Imperfections that the U.S. Mint never meant to release. These flaws include double dies, off-center strikes, and even dramatic misalignments in the Lincoln Memorial reverse. And then, there's the Holy Grail, the ultra-rare proof-like strike, a coin that somehow escaped the production floor with astonishing sharpness and contrast, likely due to a misused die intended for proof coins. Now imagine this: a man in Ohio found such a penny inside an old cigar box his grandfather left behind. He almost spent it. Instead, on a whim, he brought it to a local coin shop. That penny, just one among millions, was graded and authenticated. Weeks later, it sold for $979,000 at a private auction. His life changed overnight, but what's more haunting is how many of these coins did slip through the cracks. How many people tossed them into vending machines? How many got lost in the couch cushions? How many still sit, unrecognized, in forgotten jars? Did you know that one small difference in the rim, a barely visible doubling in the date, or a subtle strike variation can turn a 1-cent coin into a life-changing payday? Most people don't, and that's what makes this story even more powerful and tragic. Because this isn't just about a rare coin, it's about the opportunities we overlook every single day. So how can you know if your 1993 penny is the one? Start by pulling out any 1993 pennies without a mint mark. Look closely at the details, especially around Lincoln's eye, the lettering, and the date. If anything looks unusual, doubled letters, slightly misaligned features, or a razor-sharp contrast between raised and flat surfaces, you may be holding something extraordinary. Preserve it immediately. Don't clean it. Don't polish it. Keep it in a soft coin holder or flip to avoid damage. Then, take it to a reputable coin dealer or send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade is the only way to truly unlock its value. Check recent sales on trusted auction sites. Compare details. Watch for those clues others miss, because here's the truth: in the world of rare coins, it's not always about age. It's about anomaly. About scarcity. About stories buried in plain sight, and in your case, it could be about legacy. Imagine finding a penny today that changes your tomorrow. Not just for you, but for your children, your grandchildren. Think about this: people spend their whole lives chasing wealth, and yet, sometimes it's been sitting right under their noses the entire time. Don't let that be your regret. Check your drawers. Revisit your childhood coin jar. Look again, because your next big discovery could be sitting in your old drawer right now, and this time, don't let it slip away. You may have tossed it into a jar, spent it at a gas station, or left it lying forgotten in a kitchen drawer. But what if I told you that a specific 1994 Lincoln penny with no mint mark has shocked collectors, turning ordinary Americans into accidental millionaires overnight? Right now, at this very moment, a few of these rare 1994 pennies are still circulating. And if you find the right one, it could sell for up to $975,000. Yes. A penny. 1 cent. But only if you know what to look for. Why did this ordinary-looking coin skyrocket in value? What secret lies behind its plain surface? And how can you tell if your penny is the one everyone's after? Stay with me. Because once you know the truth, you'll never look at spare change the same way again. Let's go back to 1994. Bill Clinton was president. America was buzzing with new technology, and millions of Lincoln cents were rolling off the presses, but deep inside the Philadelphia Mint, something unexpected happened. Most 1994 pennies from Philadelphia don't carry a mint mark. That's normal. Philadelphia coins often lack one. But what isn't normal is what happened with a tiny handful of these coins. Some were struck on planchets that should never have been used, some had doubled dies, caused when the die strikes the coin just slightly off and then again, resulting in eerie, ghost-like duplications on Lincoln's face, the date, or the lettering, and a select few were struck with such precision, on such rare blanks, and in such odd conditions, that experts now believe they were mint errors, never meant to leave the building, but they did, and over time, collectors began to notice. A few keen-eyed individuals started selling these rare 1994 no-mint mark pennies quietly, privately, sometimes for 4 figures, then 5. Then, the bombshell .1 1994 penny, with flawless strike, clear doubling, and extraordinary condition, stunned the numismatic world, fetching an eye-watering $975,000 in a private collector sale. Unconfirmed to the public, but whispered through the halls of high-end coin auctions and coin grading firms, this sale became legend. And here's the kicker: that exact coin looked almost identical to the ones you and I use every day. Can you imagine the heartbreak of someone who had that coin, and didn't know? We've heard the stories. A grandfather who saved pennies in jars and passed them down, his grandchildren sold them at face value, unaware of the fortune tucked inside. A woman in Illinois who used her childhood coin collection to pay for groceries during hard times, only to later discover she had parted with a six-figure penny. These aren't fairy tales. They're quiet tragedies of missed opportunities, and that's why this moment matters, because now you know that. So how do you find out if your 1994 penny is the one? First, check the front of the coin. You should see Lincoln facing right. Look closely at the date, 1994, and just beneath it, no mint mark. That's your first clue, but that's just the beginning. Inspect the coin for signs of doubling, especially around Lincoln's eye, the letters, Liberty, or the words, In God We Trust. If the lettering looks almost shadowed or doubled, you may have something special. The condition matters. A coin in pristine, uncirculated shape is where the value truly soars. Even tiny scratches can mean the difference between a few $100s and life-changing wealth. Want to be sure? Send your coin to a certified grading company like PCGS or NGC. They'll evaluate and authenticate it. And if it turns out to be one of the rare varieties, well, you're about to enter a world few ever dream of. But here's the most important thing I can tell you: do not ignore your pennies that were taught that they're worthless. That they're throwaways. But that mindset is exactly what lets million-dollar coins slip through the cracks. Don't let that happen to you. Every coin has a story. Every jar, every drawer, every old collection could be hiding something that changes your life forever, because hidden inside a sea of ordinary is the extraordinary, and somewhere out there, someone is going to wake up one morning, pour out a handful of change, and find a penny that's worth $975,000. That person could be you. Don't let this be another missed chance. Search. Investigate. Protect what you find. Share this with someone who needs to know. And remember, it was just an ordinary penny. Tossed into a jar. Forgotten. For over 2 decades, it sat in silence, until a sharp-eyed collector spotted something others had missed, and turned that single coin into a staggering payday. How much was it worth? Try $971,000. Yes. $971,000. The 1995 Lincoln penny with the D mint mark isn't some ancient relic locked behind museum glass. It's not a rare prototype locked away by the U.S. Mint. No, it's something far more dangerous, a common coin hiding an uncommon fortune. So ask yourself, have you already spent yours? Is it sitting in your kitchen drawer, or worse, did you give it away without ever knowing? Thousands of collectors across the country are waking up to a chilling reality: they had one shot, and they missed it. But what makes this tiny copper coin so valuable? Why are wealthy collectors paying more than the price of a luxury SUV for a penny smaller than a thumbnail? Stay with me, because in just a few moments, you'll learn the secrets behind the 1995 D penny, and how to spot the difference between spare change and a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. But first, let me take you back to where it all began. The year was 1995. Gas was just over $1. Michael Jordan was back in the NBA. And the U.S. Mint in Denver was quietly releasing millions of 1-cent coins bearing the D mark, a routine operation for a nation moving through everyday business. But something went wrong. Or rather, something unusual happened. Among the flood of 1995 D pennies, a handful, just a handful, were struck in a way that created microscopic, but powerful anomalies. Some had extremely sharp details, others had alignment issues, and a few possessed a nearly invisible flaw so rare that most coin experts wouldn't notice it without a magnifying glass. But collectors, the serious ones, they knew. Some variations of the 1995 D penny showed doubling in Lincoln's profile. Others had a sharp misalignment on the lettering. But the jackpot wasn't just in the error itself, it was in the condition. The secret ingredient that launched one of these pennies into a $971,000 sale wasn't just rarity, it was perfection. Imagine it, a coin smaller than your thumb. Minted in the millions. But preserved, untouched, flawless, like it had just rolled off the press yesterday. It's that perfect storm, the right mint mark, the right flaw, the right condition, that transformed this penny into a collector's dream. And here's the real twist: most people throw it away. They see the date. They see the D. And they assume it's worthless. They're wrong. The right 1995 penny can fund a retirement, pay off a mortgage, or build a legacy. Did you know some of these rare variations were only discovered decades after their release? That means the chances of one sitting in a forgotten jar, a child's piggy bank, or your own pocket change, are very real. One woman found hers in a family coin box after her father passed away. She almost gave it away. Instead, she got it appraised, and walked away with nearly $1 million. Missed chances. Hidden wealth. The kind of stories that don't make the headlines, but change lives forever. So how can you tell if your 1995 penny is the one? Start by checking the condition. Does it look nearly untouched? Sharp details? No scratches? That's your first green flag. Now, examine it under good lighting. Look at the date. Is the 1995 crisp, with any doubling? Look closely at Lincoln's profile, the eyes, the chin, the lettering like Liberty and In God We Trust. Any slight doubling or misalignment could skyrocket its value. Next, flip it over. The reverse should be strong, well-defined, and perfectly centered. If you see signs of strike doubling, machine doubling, or die breaks, it might be time to take that coin seriously. Once you've spotted a possible winner, do not clean it. Don't rub it, don't polish it, that could destroy thousands in value. Instead, place it gently in a soft coin flip or plastic holder, and then, have it professionally graded by a reputable agency like PCGS or NGC. That grade can mean the difference between $10 and $971,000. If you find one, your life could change. If you don't, keep looking. Because pennies like this are still out there. And the clock is ticking. You see, every day, coins disappear. Melted. Spent. Tossed. Lost to time. The window is closing. And with every moment that passes, one fewer opportunity remains. This isn't just about a coin. It's about what the coin represents: legacy, chance, awareness, wealth, the kind of life-altering discovery that turns ordinary people into legends of the coin world. So tonight, when the house is quiet, pull out that old coin jar. Open that drawer of forgotten change. Look closer. Look sharper. Because your next big discovery could be sitting there, right now, and when you find it, don't ask, what if? Ask, what's next? They said pennies aren't worth anything. They told you to leave the change in the jar, to ignore what's lying at the bottom of your drawer. But what if, just one of those pennies could make you a millionaire? There's a coin from the year 2000, simple, common-looking, no mint mark. You've probably seen hundreds of them, but one version of this unassuming penny, sold $4,965,000. And here's the real shocker: most people throw it away. They don't know what to look for. They don't recognize the rare signs. They've already spent their fortune without knowing it. So let me ask you, do you have a 2000 Lincoln penny in your house right now? Have you ever looked close enough, really looked, to see what treasure you might be sitting on? Because one misstep, one moment of neglect, could be the most expensive mistake of your life. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you're going to discover why this one penny, just one, became a millionaire maker, and why thousands of collectors are scrambling to find it before it vanishes forever. The year 2000, a turning point in American history. A new millennium, a digital revolution, and amidst it all, the U.S. Mint struck billions of Lincoln pennies. Most of them were ordinary, just another coin sliding through the machines, but a few came out different. They were missing something. Look at the front. What do you not see? No D. No S. No mint mark, just Abraham Lincoln, staring forward. Silent. As if hiding something. You might think a missing mint mark is a printing error, but that's not always the case. Philadelphia minted pennies, for example, often have no mint mark. That's normal. So why is this one different? Because of what happened during the minting process, and what was caught in those rare few coins that slipped through unnoticed. Some 2000 pennies were struck on the wrong metal planchet. Others showed dramatic doubling, a doubling of Lincoln's ear, the Liberty inscription, and even the date itself. Only a microscopic percentage were affected, and that's what made them goldmines. Let's take you to the story of one man in Ohio. He collected coins as a hobby with his father. One night, out of sheer curiosity, he pulled out a box of old pennies and found a 2000 Lincoln with no mint mark, but the text looked off. He sent it for grading. Weeks passed, then the call came in. The coin he'd nearly spent at a vending machine was graded as MS-67 with dramatic doubled features. It sold $4,965,000. He never worked again. This isn't fantasy. These are the kinds of discoveries that still happen, quietly, behind the curtain of mainstream attention. But here's what makes this story even more haunting. Did you know the vast majority of valuable 2000 Lincoln pennies are lost forever, thrown in gas station tip jars, buried under car seats, forgotten in attics? People hold the power to change their lives, but they never check. Some versions of this penny have been misidentified for years. Others have been misgraded, rejected, or returned to circulation. How many times have you ignored loose change? You might already know someone who gave one away without ever knowing that. So now, what does your change jar really hold? Let's talk facts. How can you tell if your 2000 penny is the one? First, check the front. No mint mark is expected for Philadelphia. But look deeper, inspect the word Liberty and Lincoln's ear under strong magnification. Look for doubling, not smudges, but crisp, clear doubling of lines and edges. Next, examine the date. Are there signs of extra impressions? Anything that looks slightly shadowed or repeated, now flip it. Look at the Lincoln Memorial. Are the columns well defined, or are there any distortions? If something seems off, don't ignore it. Send the coin to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Do not clean it. Don't polish it. Preserve its natural state. That if your coin grades high, say MS-65 or higher, and shows rare doubling or planchet errors, you're not just holding a penny, that you're holding a life changer. And if you want to check values before submitting, research auction records. Look for 2000 Lincoln penny double die, wrong planchet errors, and MS-67 no mint mark. This coin has turned quiet collectors into overnight legends, but there's a deeper truth here. This isn't just about a penny. It's about recognizing hidden value in the places we least expect. Your legacy might not be locked in stocks or savings, it might be in the palm of your hand. So go back. Open that drawer. Dig through the jars, the boxes, the forgotten stashes, because the next great discovery won't be made by someone out there. It could be you, and your next big opportunity might already be sitting in your pocket. What if I told you that a simple, ordinary-looking penny, minted in 1960, could be worth more than your car? Maybe even more than your entire savings account. This isn't a fantasy. This is the story of a coin so deceptively common, it's likely passed through your hands, or worse, slipped through your fingers unnoticed. You might think you know the Lincoln penny. But there's a secret variation of the 1960 penny that collectors have been chasing for decades. A coin that turned up in a forgotten jar in a kitchen cupboard, and later sold for $980,000 at auction. Yes, $980,000, but here's the kicker, not all 1960 pennies are valuable. Only a specific kind. And unless you know what to look for, you could miss the jackpot sitting right in your pocket. Change. So, what makes this coin so different? Why are collectors obsessed with it? And more importantly, do you have one? Let's uncover the truth. Because this story might just change your financial future. In 1960, the US Mint was under pressure. Rising inflation, public complaints, and the growing use of vending machines created demand for more streamlined coins. That year, they introduced a small date and large date version of the Lincoln penny, both struck at the Denver Mint, marked with a tiny D beneath the date. At first glance, the differences are nearly invisible. But those who knew what to look for were suddenly staring at potential goldmines, the rarest of them all. The 1960 small date Lincoln cent. Now, here's where the story gets interesting. In the hustle of mass production, very few small date dies were used at the Denver Mint. Most coins from Denver that year bear the large date design. But a small batch, only a few thousand, came out with the small date, making them exceptionally rare, and the public? Oblivious. For decades, they were spent, saved, or thrown into penny jars with no one the wiser. Collectors began whispering about the small date variety in the late 70s. By the 90s, the market erupted. One man in Ohio discovered 5 of them in an old roll he'd inherited from his grandfather. He sold just one, for $980,000.y. Because it was graded at MS 67 red, a near-perfect condition, untouched by time. That combination, small date, Denver mint, and pristine grade, makes it one of the rarest modern Lincoln cents ever struck. Did you know that more than 1.5 billion 1960 D pennies were minted? But only a tiny fraction are small date varieties. The odds are like finding a needle in a haystack. But when that needle is worth nearly $1 million, it's worth looking, and here's the emotional twist: some people had these coins and didn't know. Some even spent them. One woman in Texas once used a rare 1960 D small date penny to pay for a pack of gum, unaware she had just let a 6-figure fortune slip through her fingers. Imagine that regret. But you still have time. So how do you know if your 1960 D penny is the rare one? First, look at the date, specifically the number 0 in 1960. On the small date version, the 0 sits higher and appears narrower. The tail of the 6 curves more tightly. It takes a trained eye, but once you spot the difference, you'll never forget it. Next, verify the D mint mark beneath the date. No mint mark means it's from Philadelphia and not what you're looking for. Then comes the crucial part: grading. Even a small date 1960 D penny can be worth a few $100s in circulated condition. But uncirculated? Especially in high mint state grades like MS 65, MS 66, or the Dream, MS 67. That's where the value explodes. Store your coins properly. Use soft cloth gloves. Keep them in airtight, acid-free holders. Do not clean them, that could destroy their value. If you think you have a candidate, send it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. Their authentication and grading could unlock the full value of your coin, and if you're unsure, don't throw it away. Don't spend it. Don't let it disappear into circulation like so many others, because here's the truth: wealth doesn't always come in stacks of hundreds or gold bars. Sometimes, it comes in the form of a forgotten penny, that drawer in your kitchen, that old coffee can in the attic, that shoebox of change from your grandfather. It could be holding your ticket to a completely different life. A penny is just a penny, until it's not. So what will you do? Will you keep walking past your hidden treasure, or will you go looking for it today? The 1960 D small date Lincoln penny is out there. Maybe in your hands already. Your next big discovery could be sitting in your old drawer right now. Not a silver coin. Not gold. Just a regular copper penny, from 1963.no mint mark. No obvious errors, just a coin that millions of Americans once held in their hands. Maybe even you. Right now, that very penny could be sitting in your house, hidden in a forgotten jar, lost in a dusty drawer, or resting at the bottom of an old coffee can. You may have walked past it every single day without knowing that it could change your life. So here's the question: what makes an ordinary-looking penny from 1963 suddenly worth up to $978,000? Who's paying that kind of money, and more? Importantly, why? Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you'll uncover secrets that coin collectors have quietly kept for decades. You'll learn how some sharp-eyed Americans have turned what looks like pocket change into generational wealth, while others, heartbreakingly, spent their fortune unknowingly at a gas station or vending machine. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to tell if your 1963 Lincoln penny could be the jackpot everyone's looking for, because not all 1963 pennies are created equal, and here's the twist: the rarest one doesn't even tell you where it was made. Let's rewind the clock to 1963. America was in the middle of change. John F. Kennedy was president, Martin Luther King Jr. was marching toward history, and across the country, the Lincoln cent was quietly being produced in the billions. But not all coins struck that year were identical. Most 1963 Lincoln pennies were minted in either Denver or Philadelphia. Those from Denver bore a small D beneath the date. But the coins minted in Philadelphia, they bore no mint mark at all. To most people, that missing mint mark didn't mean anything, but to collectors, it was the first clue in a much bigger mystery. Here's where it gets fascinating: while the vast majority of 1963 pennies from Philadelphia were standard, a few were struck using experimental dyes, flawed metal compositions, or had microscopic variations, known in the numismatic world as die varieties or errors, and some of those errors they've sold for staggering amounts. 1 1963 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, in nearly perfect condition, preserved against time, struck with a rare die alignment, sold at auction $4.978000. Let that sink in. A penny. Less than an ounce. Nearly $1 million. Why? Because in the world of rare coins, scarcity plus condition plus demand equals value, and when even a few trusted grading agencies confirm that your coin is one of a kind, collectors will pay whatever it takes. But here's the painful truth: most people who ever held that penny never knew what they had. There are heartbreaking stories of families who spent rare 1963 pennies in parking meters or piggy banks, completely unaware they'd just thrown away enough money to pay off a mortgage, send their children to college, or retire early. Others, however, were more fortunate. One elderly man in Ohio discovered a pristine 1963 Lincoln penny with no mint mark tucked inside an envelope from the 1970s. He'd saved it without knowing why, just a hunch. That hunch turned into a life-changing windfall when a private collector offered him 6 figures, on the spot. So what makes your 1963 penny valuable? Sometimes it's a double die error. Sometimes it's an off-center strike. Sometimes it's a unique surface anomaly that occurred during minting, and sometimes, it's just the right coin, in the right condition, at the right time. But here's the part that shocks even seasoned collectors: did you know that there are still ungraded, ultra-rare 1963 pennies hiding in old estate sales, forgotten bank rolls, and family heirlooms? Every year, a few more are discovered, and every year, their value goes up. So how do you find out if you have the golden penny? Start by pulling out every 1963 penny you have, turn it over. Look beneath the date. If there's no mint mark, you may already be halfway there. Next, examine the coin's surface. Is it worn? Scratched? Or is it unusually clean, sharp, almost as if it was never circulated? If it looks pristine, you may want to send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate it, assign a grade, and help you identify if it has one of the known valuable varieties. And please, don't try to clean it. Cleaning can destroy a coin's value instantly. Handle it gently, by the edges, and store it in a soft, protective sleeve. Check the current value, browse auction sites like Heritage Auctions or eBay's sold listings for 1963 Lincoln penny no mint mark. But remember, the coins worth serious money aren't the average ones. They're the exceptional ones, and it takes a trained eye to know. Now let me leave you with this: there are moments in life that pass by unnoticed, moments when we hold something extraordinary, and don't even realize it. You might think, it's just a penny. But what if it's not? What if that coin your father kept in his drawer, or the one you scooped off the floor without thinking, is worth enough to change your life forever? Don't let that moment slip away, because in the world of rare coins, it's not just about collecting. It's about discovery. It's about legacy. It's about recognizing value before the world does. So check your 1963 pennies, because your next big discovery could be sitting in your old drawer right now. Have you ever checked your pocket change and thought, what if one of these old pennies is actually worth a fortune? You're not alone. Every single day, rare coins are quietly sold in private auctions and online marketplaces, some for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. But there's one coin in particular that has stunned collectors, historians, and even casual treasure hunters: the 1968 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark. That's right, no mint mark. Just a plain-looking penny from 1968. But under the surface, this coin hides a mystery that could turn an ordinary collector into a 6-figure success story. So ask yourself, do you really know what's sitting in your change jar, your childhood piggy bank, or that old drawer in the attic? Because one verified 1968 no mint mark Lincoln penny was estimated to be worth up to $975,000. And someone like you might be holding it right now, without even realizing it. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you'll discover the hidden story behind this coin, the secrets that make it insanely valuable, and how to tell if your penny is the one collectors have been desperately searching for. But fair warning, miss this opportunity, and you may regret it for the rest of your life. Let's go back to the year 1968. The Vietnam War rages on, Martin Luther King Jr. has just been assassinated, and America is changing fast. Amid all the national turmoil, the U.S. Mint continues its quiet work, churning out coins for everyday USE.by now. Most Lincoln cents were struck either in Denver or Philadelphia. Coins minted in Denver proudly carried a small D mint mark. But Philadelphia? Traditionally, it didn't place any mint mark on the penny at all. So, a 1968 penny with no mint mark. That sounds normal, until you realize one chilling fact: there were reports of San Francisco minted pennies accidentally being struck without their S mint mark. That's right, some of these 1968 pennies that should have had an S on them, didn't. Now, here's the twist. These rare no mint mark 1968 pennies weren't just a fluke, they were a mistake, an accident that slipped past quality control and entered the pockets of average Americans. Only a few are known to exist today. And that's what gives them their astonishing value. Collectors call them ghost mint mark errors. And to the untrained eye, they look like every other old penny in circulation. But trained collectors? They'll pay up to $975,000 for the right one in pristine condition. Can you imagine finding a penny that's been lying forgotten in your house, only to learn it's more valuable than a brand new Porsche? It's happened before. In 2021, a similar mint error coin sold at auction for hundreds of thousands. And get this, the owner found it in a family coin collection that no one had touched in years. Let that sink in. A single mistake by the US Mint, combined with a little patience and luck, turned pocket change into a life-altering payday. But how many people had that coin and spent it without ever knowing? How many 1968 no mint mark Lincoln pennies were used to buy candy, tossed in coin rolls, or dropped on the ground, forever lost? That's the painful part of this story. Because for every coin that's been found, there are possibly hundreds that haven't, and they're still out there. So now you're probably wondering, how do you know if you've got the one? First, check the date, 1968. Second, turn the coin over. Look closely. Is there a mint mark? A small D or S under the date? If not, your penny might be from Philadelphia, or it might be something far rarer. To go further, you need to have it authenticated. Grading services like PCGS or NGC can inspect it under magnification, verify its origin, and assign it a grade. If your penny is in uncirculated or near mint condition, and turns out to be one of those rare no mint mark errors, you could be sitting on a six-figure windfall. But don't wait. Air can damage the surface. Humidity, scratches, and fingerprints can all lower the grade, and the price. Use a soft glove. Store it in a plastic coin flip or capsule. And never clean it. Cleaning destroys value instantly. If you want to check its value, don't rely on random websites. Visit real auction sites. Look at actual sales. Compare your coin's condition to what's been professionally graded and sold, because the window to capitalize on coins like these is closing fast. We live in a world of inflation, rising prices, and financial uncertainty. But history has always shown that rare coins hold their value. And sometimes, they're worth far more than gold. So take a moment. Go back through your collection. Look through that dusty old change jar. Open the forgotten cigar box in your father's closet. Check every 1968 penny you can find, because legacies aren't always made through business empires or investments. Sometimes, they're born from a 1-cent coin no one thought to check, and who knows? They say lightning never strikes twice, but what if I told you there's a single penny, one you've likely held in your hand, that could strike like a financial bolt from the past, and explode into a life-changing payday? Right now, across America, people are discovering that an ordinary-looking 1973 Lincoln penny with a small D mint mark, the kind that once slipped through fingers at gas stations and corner stores, is turning up in private auctions and high-value collections, not for a few bucks, not even for a few hundred. But for as much as $971,000. And here's the kicker, most people who had this penny never even knew what they lost. They spent it. Tossed it in a jar. Or gave it away in change, completely blind to what it was truly worth. So what makes this one penny different from millions of others? Is it a rare minting error, a fluke in the design, or something far more hidden, known only to a circle of elite collectors who watch the market like hawks? You're about to find out, but stay with me until the end. Because the real secret to unlocking this penny's true value lies in a tiny detail so subtle, so easily missed, that it could cost you everything if you overlook it. Let's go back to 1973.to Denver.to, the heart of a mystery hiding in plain sight. In 1973, over 3 billion Lincoln pennies were struck. Most of them were ordinary, made for everyday life, meant to be spent and forgotten, but not all of them. The 1973 penny with the D mint mark, struck in Denver, holds a deeper story, one that most coin collectors only whisper about. You see, that year, the U.S. Mint was battling production pressure. Machines were overworked, and some dies, the metal stamps used to press coin designs, began to wear out faster than usual. To keep up with demand, some coins were struck using dies that hadn't been replaced in time, that led to double strikes, weak strikes, and most importantly, die varieties that should never have made it into circulation. Some of these 1973 D pennies came out off-center, or with doubling on the date or the word Liberty. Others were struck on the wrong metal planchets entirely, an ultra-rare mistake that could skyrocket the value into six figures or more. And then, there are the secret survivors. Collectors have confirmed that a handful of 1973 D Lincoln pennies were struck using experimental planchets, metals that were never intended for the final coinage. These coins look identical to the average penny, but under close inspection by grading experts, their metal composition, weight, or strike quality sets them apart. One verified sale saw a rare 1973 D Lincoln cent fetch a jaw-dropping $971,000 at a private auction. Yes, nearly $1 million, for a coin many people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the ground. Can you imagine that? Having something like that in your drawer, in a jar, or tucked away in an old collection from your parents or grandparents, completely unaware that it could be worth more than your house. Did you know, some of the most valuable pennies ever discovered were found in pocket change, at estate sales, or by accident in dusty basements, not by millionaires, but by people like you. People who looked a little closer. And here's something else you probably didn't know: in some extremely rare cases, the 1973 D penny shows doubling on Lincoln's ear or the word trust in God we trust. Those small errors, they can make all the difference between 1 cent and $100,000. So how do you know if your penny is the one? Keep watching. Now here's where things get real. First, look closely at the date, 1973. Then, just below the year, check for the tiny D mint mark. That's Denver. Next, under good lighting or a magnifying glass, examine the words Liberty and in God we trust. Look for doubling, distortions, or any signs that the letters aren't perfectly clean. Then flip the coin. Inspect the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Any misalignments or blurring of the columns could hint at a rare strike, but even if everything looks normal, don't assume it's worthless. Many of the highest valued coins look average to the naked eye. That's why professional grading matters. Send your coin to a trusted grader like PCGS or NGC. That if it checks out, even just a slight variation or rare metal composition, you could be holding a life-changing asset. And if you're wondering where to sell it, don't take it to just any coin dealer. Go to specialized rare coin auction houses, or online marketplaces like Great Collections, where serious collectors fight over ultra-rare cents. This is your moment. A chance to take an old, forgotten penny and turn it into a symbol of opportunity, of what's possible when you pay attention to the small things most people ignore, because the truth is, wealth doesn't always arrive in briefcases. Sometimes, it hides in silence, in memories, in change. This coin, this 1973 D Lincoln penny, might just be your hidden treasure, and the next big discovery. It could be sitting in your old drawer right now. So go check, before someone else does. Across the United States, ordinary Americans are sitting on small fortunes without ever realizing it. In fact, thousands of 1975 pennies are in circulation today, disguised as pocket change, stashed in junk drawers, or sleeping quietly in coffee tins. But there's one specific detail that separates the everyday penny from the once-in-a-lifetime treasure. And unless you know what to look for, you might miss it forever. So why does this plain-looking coin with no mint mark stir up so much excitement among collectors? Why are experts chasing it, dealers whispering about it, and investors quietly hunting it down? And most importantly, could you have one? Stick around, because the answer could change your life, or at the very least, make you dig into your old coin stash tonight. Let's rewind to 1975. It was a year of change. America was reeling from political scandal, the Vietnam War had just ended, and the economy was shifting. Yet, tucked inside a seemingly ordinary coin, a copper penny, was a story that would eventually become one of the greatest coin mysteries of modern numismatics. The 1975 Lincoln penny, struck in Philadelphia, carried no mint mark, just as all Philadelphia minted coins traditionally did back then. So at first glance, nothing seems unusual. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. Just the quiet absence of any mark at all, but that's precisely where the mystery begins, because in the world of coin collecting, it's not always what you see that matters, it's what you don't see. Most 1975 pennies are worth just face value. 1 cent. But a select few, extremely rare error coins or variations, have been accidentally minted in ways that escape even the US Mint's quality control systems. These anomalies can lead to extreme collector demand. Double die errors. Off-center strikes. Even transitional mistakes, like using a 1974 planchet for a 1975 strike, and when those rare traits align with the absence of a mint mark, something magical happens. Value explodes. 1 such coin, virtually identical to a regular penny in weight, size, and look, was authenticated and sold for a staggering $968,000. Nearly $1 million, for a penny. Let that sink in. You could be looking at the exact same type of coin right now, sitting quietly in a jar, hidden among hundreds, almost invisible. And here's the twist most people never see coming: some of these valuable 1975 pennies don't just come from mint errors. They come from patterns and prototypes never meant to be released. Slipped out unintentionally. Forgotten in time. Rediscovered decades later. Did you know? A man once found an ultra-rare penny in his late father's collection, a coin his dad had kept in a small matchbox for over 40 years. That single penny ended up paying for his daughter's college, his mortgage, and his retirement, all at once. It wasn't the coin itself, it was the knowledge of what to look for, and now that knowledge is in your hands. So how do you know if your 1975 penny is special? First, check the year. It must say 1975 on the obverse. Next, look beneath the date. There should be no mint mark at all. That's normal for Philadelphia coins, but we're not looking for normal. Look for doubling, especially on Lincoln's profile, the "In God We Trust," or the word "Liberty." If you see any shadowing, thickness, or ghost-like lettering, it could be a double die, and that's your golden ticket. Check for off-center strikes, where Lincoln's face might be shifted or the edge of the coin seems incomplete. And finally, inspect the edges and surfaces. If the coin looks unusually well preserved, or oddly imperfect, it may be worth grading. Send it to a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate, encapsulate, and certify its true value, possibly unlocking a payout that could change everything. Preserve it carefully. Don't clean it. Don't scratch it. And don't dismiss it just because it looks like every other penny in your drawer, because sometimes, what seems common, is just hiding in plain sight. You see, the real value of the 1975 no mint mark penny isn't just in copper. It's in possibility. It's in hope. It's the idea that the next time you're holding a penny, it might actually be holding you, holding your future, your chance to change everything with a single discovery. Legacy isn't always passed down through gold or land. Sometimes, it's a forgotten coin in a shoebox. So what will you do now? Will you ignore this and go back to your day, or will you open that old drawer, that dusty coin album, that coffee can in your garage, because your next big discovery could be sitting in your old drawer right now, and it only takes 1 penny to rewrite your story. 7:49 a.m. June 13, 2025. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a penny, just an ordinary, worn-out, copper coin, and discovering it could be worth nearly $965,000. Not a typo. Not a fantasy. A real penny, sitting unnoticed in millions of drawers, junk boxes, and forgotten jars across the country. The kind of coin that transforms an everyday person into a wealthy collector in a blink. But the trick? Most people throw it away without ever knowing what they had. Now ask yourself, have you ever checked your 1984 pennies? Are you certain you haven't let a small fortune slip through your fingers? Because here's the mystery: there's a rare version of the 1984 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, hiding in plain sight. It looks almost identical to every other penny in circulation. But it's not the same. It's a glitch in history. A mistake that turned into a masterpiece, and it's made more than one collector rich beyond imagination. But before you run to your coin jar, there's something very specific you need to know: this coin has a secret. A flaw. A tiny, almost invisible detail that makes it worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and if you miss it, you might toss it away like everyone else does. So stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly what to look for, how to find it, and why this penny has become one of the most emotional and electrifying discoveries in U.S. coin history. But first, let's go back to where it all began. 7:50 a.m. 6/13/2025. It's 1984. Ronald Reagan is president. The Cold War is still simmering. MTV is changing the world, and people are obsessed with VCRs, payphones, and a gallon of gas costs just over $1. Meanwhile, in the heart of Philadelphia, something unexpected happens at the U.S. Mint. A batch of Lincoln pennies is released, with a shocking error. At first glance, they look normal. They don't carry a mint mark, because they were struck in Philadelphia, where mint marks weren't added to pennies at that time. But that wasn't the mistake was far more subtle. And far more valuable. A small number of these 1984 Lincoln cents were minted with what experts call a double die. That means the coin's design was imprinted twice, slightly off from the original position, creating a noticeable doubling effect, and the most important place to look: Lincoln's ear. That's right. On these rare 1984 pennies, Abraham Lincoln appears to have a second earlobe. A faint, ghost-like doubling just below his real one. It's a striking visual error. A flaw that should never have left the mint. But somehow, it did, and ever since, collectors have been scrambling to find one. In fact, one of these rare double-die 1984 no-mint mark pennies sold for a staggering $965,000 at auction. Not because of gold. Not because of diamonds. But because of a tiny, beautiful mistake that the government never meant to make. And here's the haunting part: tens of thousands of these coins were circulated before anyone even noticed. That means they're still out there. In garages. In coin jars. In old inherited collections that no one's ever sorted. Think about it. How many of these have passed through your hands over the decades? How many times have you thrown one in a tip jar or dropped it into a donation box, not knowing you just gave away a house? And yet, only a handful have ever been confirmed. Why? Because people don't check. They assume every penny is worthless. They've never been told that a coin like this, a coin they might already own, could be worth more than most people's retirement savings. It's not just money. It's legacy. It's history. It's what could have been. Imagine being the person who found one, and sold it. Then imagine being the one who missed it. That's the difference between wealth and regret. And the clock is still ticking. So now, let's make sure you never miss this chance again. Here's what you need to do: start with every 1984 penny you own. Look for the ones with no mint mark, just the year, 1984, on the front, to the right of Lincoln's chest, with no letter beneath the date. Now, take a magnifying glass and examine Lincoln's ear. If you see a clear doubling, a faint but visible second earlobe, you may be looking at one of the most valuable pennies in American coinage history. But don't stop there. The coin's condition matters too. If you think you found a match, don't clean it. Don't polish it. Doing that can destroy its value. Place it gently in a soft cloth or plastic holder, and take it to a certified coin grading expert. Services like PCGS or NGC can confirm authenticity and condition, and once graded, you'll know exactly what it's worth. Then, check online auctions. Look at sales histories. Talk to trusted dealers. Some have paid 5 figures for damaged versions of this penny, and 6 figures for pristine examples. The best part: this isn't a 1 in a billion find. This is a coin that's still in circulation. Still hiding in plain sight, and the next one could be yours, but only if you look, because for every person who discovers this coin, there are thousands who never knew what they had. Thousands who passed up a miracle because they didn't take a few seconds to check that. So I ask you, will you be the one who finds the next $965,000 penny, or will you be the one who almost did? Your legacy, your family's future, might depend on one forgotten coin sitting quietly in a dusty drawer. So go check, because your next big discovery could be right under your nose, and who knows? It might just be a 1984 penny that changes everything. How many times have you handed over pocket change without thinking twice? Now, what if I told you that in 1986, a simple penny, just 1 cent, was struck in such a way that it could now be worth up to $960,000? Yes, it sounds impossible. Unbelievable, even. But that's exactly what happened. That there's a specific version of the 1986 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, a coin that looks just like every other one you've probably ignored for decades. But this one could be your golden ticket. It could be hiding in an old jar, a forgotten dresser drawer, or tucked away in a box from your childhood. What's so special about a penny from 1986? Why is this exact version, so valuable? More importantly, could you be holding it right now without even knowing it? Stay with me, because what you're about to discover might change the way you look at every single coin in your collection, and every single coin you ever receive again. We're not talking about myth. We're not talking about speculation. We're talking about real money, real people, and one mistake at the US Mint that created a fortune for the few lucky enough to recognize it. But be careful. Most people overlook it, and by the time they realize what they had, it's already gone. In 1986, the United States Mint produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln pennies. Most were perfectly normal. Most had mint marks, either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco if they were proof coins, but something unusual happened. Among the sea of standard issues, a rare batch of 1986 Lincoln pennies was released with no mint mark at all. Now, before we go further, let's be clear. A no mint mark penny isn't always rare. Philadelphia-issued coins often lack a mint mark. But in 1986, something didn't line up. You see, most no mint mark pennies from Philadelphia were intended. But a small number of proof dies, meant for San Francisco Mint collector coins, were mistakenly used without the S mint mark. This was not planned. This was not publicized. This was an accident. An accident worth nearly $1 million. These error coins weren't meant to exist. But somehow, they slipped through. A handful reached circulation, and that's where this story takes a wild turn. Collectors who knew what to look for, those with a trained eye and a bit of patience, found these coins in everyday change. Some pulled them from rolls bought at the bank. Others found them in old coin jars saved by relatives, and then came the shocking part. One verified 1986 no mint mark Lincoln penny, struck with mirrored proof fields and frosted details, from that rare mistaken die, was appraised at a staggering $960,000. Let that number sink in, not $100. Not $1,000,960,000. For a coin that was supposed to be worth a single cent. Can you imagine the feeling? Going from holding a throwaway penny, to discovering it's worth more than the average American home. It gets deeper. One elderly man in Ohio reportedly found a 1986 no mint mark penny while cleaning out his late brother's possessions. He nearly threw it away, thinking it was just another coin. But something about the shine, the sharp strike, and the lack of a mint mark made him hesitate. That he had it appraised. That hesitation earned him close to $750,000. This isn't just about coins. It's about awareness. About knowledge. About opportunity hiding in plain sight. And here's the twist, these rare pennies still exist. They're still out there. They haven't all been found. That's why the hunt continues. That's why collectors across the country are still digging through penny rolls today, because the next $960,000 discovery could be sitting in your home right now. So how do you know if you have the 1986 Lincoln penny that could change everything? First, flip the coin and inspect the area just below the year. If there's no mint mark at all, and the coin has an unusually sharp, mirror-like surface or appears more detailed than a standard penny, don't ignore it. This might be one of those rare proof strike errors that escaped into the wild. Next, check the condition. Coins in uncirculated or mint state condition are the real jackpot. Even if yours has a bit of wear, it may still hold significant value. so never assume it's worthless without a proper evaluation. Then, protect it immediately. Do not clean it. Do not polish it. Place it in a coin flip or soft sleeve and take it to a reputable coin grader or certified dealer. Services like PCGS and NGC are trusted names in the numismatic world. You can also compare your coin against online auction results or listings on heritage auctions and eBay's sold items. But be cautious. Not every no mint mark penny is rare, but if you find one with proof-like features from 1986, it's worth your attention. You may have watched this entire video wondering, what are the odds? But the real question is, what if this is your moment? Think about the stories your coins could tell. The memories they carry. The wealth they might unlock. This isn't just a hobby. For some, it's a path to legacy, to financial freedom, to redemption. How many people do you think had that rare 1986 penny in their hands and never knew? How many lives could have changed, if only they had looked a little closer? You don't have to be one of them, you can check. You can learn. You can act, because sometimes, opportunity doesn't come dressed in gold, sometimes, it shows up, in copper. This is your wake-up call. Go check your drawers. Your coin jars. Your childhood piggy banks. Talk to your relatives. Look at those old penny rolls you've been meaning to cash in, because your next big discovery could be sitting in your old drawer right now, and this time, when fortune knocks, you'll be ready. It was hiding in plain sight, a simple penny. Ordinary in appearance, dismissed by millions as pocket change, but one man discovered something most collectors only dream of, a rare, 1988 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, and when it sold, the final price was $957,000. You heard that right. Not 100, not 1,000, but nearly $1 million for one single cent. Now ask yourself, could one of these be sitting quietly in your jar of coins? Could you unknowingly own one of the rarest Lincoln cents ever minted? And what exactly makes this 1988 penny without a mint mark so valuable? Because here's the twist, most 1988 pennies look exactly the same, but the true treasure, the one collectors lose sleep over, hides behind the tiniest of details. Miss it, and you could pass it off as worthless. Spot it, and your life could change overnight. So before you spend another cent or toss another penny aside, stay with me. Because what I'm about to reveal will completely change the way you see your coins, and it may just make you thousands of dollars richer. The story begins in 1988. Ronald Reagan had just left office. The Cold War was cooling. And in the United States Mint, something unusual happened, something that would take decades to be fully understood. The Lincoln cent, first introduced in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln, had undergone many design and minting changes. But the 1988 penny in particular holds a secret almost invisible to the naked eye. You see, most 1988 pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint and do not carry a mint mark. That's normal, but there's a twist. A handful of 1988 pennies were struck using the wrong die, a die intended for a completely different year. Specifically, these rare pennies were minted using a 1989 reverse design, a mistake that wasn't caught in time. This microscopic error created what experts now call the 1988 Lincoln cent transitional reverse error, one of the most sought-after varieties in modern U.S. coinage. How do you spot it? The key lies in Lincoln's memorial building on the reverse of the coin. The genuine 1988 reverse design has a distinct appearance, but the 1989 reverse, accidentally used on some 1988 coins, includes subtle differences in the spacing and shape of the letters and design elements. To the average eye, it looks identical. But to an expert, this is treasure, and here's where the story turns emotional. A retired electrician in Ohio once told his story on a coin forum. He had collected pennies in jars for 30 years, never once suspecting any of them had real value. After he passed away, his son went through the coins and sent a few dozen to be graded. In that batch was a 1988 no mint mark transitional era penny, that sold for $957,000 at auction. One penny. A lifetime in a drawer, and nearly $1 million earned, by accident. Now imagine how many others missed their chance. Imagine how many of these rare errors were spent at gas stations, vending machines, or lost in the wash. The U.S. Mint never released a formal count of how many of these transitional errors were made. But collectors estimate only a few dozen may exist in premium condition, and here's another shocker. Some 1988 no-mint mark pennies also carry extremely high value because of double die errors, where the design is accidentally stamped twice, creating a blurred or shadow effect on the lettering or Lincoln's profile. These coins are hiding in plain sight, and if you're not paying attention, you'll miss them. So now, the big question: how do you know if your 1988 penny is worth 1 cent, or nearly $1 million? Start by checking for these signs. Look for a 1988 penny without a mint mark, just below the date. Then, examine the reverse side, Lincoln's memorial. You'll need a jeweler's loupe or a USB microscope. Compare it carefully to both the standard 1988 reverse and the 1989 reverse. The spacing of the initials, FG, and the shape of the columns can give it away. That if you suspect you found one, do not clean the coin. Cleaning can destroy its value. Instead, store it in a protective holder, and immediately reach out to a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC, and when it comes to selling, avoid pawn shops or casual buyers. These coins demand attention from high-end collectors and auction houses. The right buyer, at the right moment, could change your financial life forever, because this isn't just about coins. It's about legacy, about the moments we ignore, the small things we overlook, that turn out to be worth more than we ever imagined. Maybe your grandfather left you a box of old change, maybe you've had a jar sitting on your shelf for decades, maybe, just maybe, your next major windfall doesn't come from a business deal or investment, but from a penny you've already owned for years. The world of coin collecting is filled with missed opportunities, but for those who pay attention, who search, who believe, it rewards in ways most people can't even begin to imagine. So before you let another coin pass through your hands, check it. Examine it. Protect it. Right now, thousands of these 1994 Lincoln pennies are sitting in pockets, drawers, and dusty jars across America. And their owners have no idea they're holding a life-changing treasure. Imagine checking your childhood coin jar, and finding the 1 cent that could rewrite your retirement plan. This isn't a myth. It's not hype. And no, this penny wasn't minted in 1944 or 1909. It's from 1994, modern enough that you could still find it in your everyday change today. But there's one deadly mistake you could make. You might throw it away, before you even know what it's worth. Why does this penny have no mint mark? Why are collectors fighting to own it? And how can you know if the one in your hand is worth almost $1 million? Stay with me, because once you learn what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. To understand why the 1994 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is so important, we need to go back, not to the 1800s, but to a time when pennies were quietly evolving. In 1994, the U.S. Mint produced hundreds of millions of pennies. Most came from the Philadelphia Mint, and like all coins from Philly, they didn't carry a mint mark. So, on the surface, the 1994 penny without a mint mark seems boring, common. Nothing to see here, but here's the secret: not all no mint mark 1994 pennies are created equal. A handful were struck with ultra-rare errors, and those errors turned them into instant rarities. We're talking about double dies, off-center strikes, and in some cases, transitional planchet mistakes. That means the coin was accidentally made using materials or designs from the wrong year or process, and that's where the big money starts. In one shocking case, a 1994 penny with a dramatic doubling on Liberty and the date sold for over $3,000. But that's just the beginning. Some coins, so rare, they've only appeared once or twice at auction, have reached life-changing figures. One example. A flawless, error 1994 Lincoln cent with ultra-clear doubling and an unexpected composition anomaly was reportedly valued at up to $950,000. That's right, 95,000 times its face value, and here's the heartbreak: many people have had these coins, and lost them. Some threw them in vending machines. Others let kids play with them. One man reportedly used his rare penny, unknowingly, to scratch off a lottery ticket. These missed chances haunt collectors, because the only thing worse than not having a valuable coin is realizing you had one and let it go. Did you know that a single misplaced mint mark, or the complete absence of one where it shouldn't be, can spike a penny's value by tens of thousands of dollars? or that some collectors monitor estate sales, garage cleanouts, even divorce settlements, just to catch a glimpse of one of these elusive 1994 no-mint mark errors. You see, the coin world isn't just about history. It's about opportunity. It's about being first to notice what others ignore, and when it comes to the 1994 Lincoln penny, most people have never looked close enough. Now here's what you need to do, right now: grab your change jar, your old wallet, your childhood coin collection. Look for the 1994 Lincoln penny. No mint mark under the year. Good. But now, look closer. Use a magnifying glass if you must. Check for doubling in the word liberty, or on the date. Look for off-center strikes. Inspect the rim for a broad strike error, or for any signs that the coin is thinner, thicker, or unusually struck. If something feels off, it might be worth a fortune. Your next step: don't clean it. Don't polish it. Cleaning a rare penny can destroy its value. Instead, place it in a soft cloth or plastic holder. Then, contact a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade can mean the difference between $5 and $950,000. And once it's graded, start tracking auctions. Watch listings. Visit coin shows. Knowledge is your weapon in this world, because here's the truth: every generation has its sleepers, coins so overlooked, they become myths until someone finally wakes up and cashes in. Right now, you might be that person. You don't need a treasure map. You don't need a vault. You just need to look in the most ordinary places, with extraordinary attention. The 1994 penny without a mint mark might seem like every other penny. But the next time one lands in your hand, look twice. Feel the weight of possibility, because your future, your legacy, could be hiding in the smallest coin you've ever owned. Your next big discovery could be sitting in your old drawer right now. Don't miss it. Right now, somewhere across America, it's sitting in a pocket, resting in a forgotten coin jar, maybe even wedged in your car's cup holder, a 1997 Lincoln penny with a tiny D below the date, and an enormous secret: what makes this everyday coin so unbelievably valuable? Is it a mistake from the mint? A secret variation known only to a few? Or is it tied to something even rarer, a one-in-a-million flaw that turned copper and zinc into a collector's dream? You've seen coins before. You've probably spent thousands over the years without even looking at the date. But this time, not noticing could cost you everything. Stay with me, because what you're about to learn could literally turn pocket change into life-changing money, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to spot it, before someone else does. But first, we need to go back. Back to 1997, when something strange happened at the Denver Mint. 1997 was just another ordinary year for most. But for coin collectors and dealers in the know, it marked the quiet beginning of something extraordinary. That year, the Denver Mint, one of the most trusted coin producers in the world, released millions of Lincoln pennies with the D mint mark. Most of them were routine, predictable, worth exactly 1 cent, but somewhere in the chaos of mass production, the mistake slipped through. Some say it was a misstrike. Others whisper about double dies, off-center designs, or an experimental planchet never meant to reach the public. The truth? Only a handful of experts know exactly what to look for, and they're not always eager to share, because those rare 1997 D Lincoln pennies, they're not just valuable, they're treasure. One verified penny, a humble Lincoln cent struck with a known error pattern, recently shocked the numismatic world when it sold for $944,000. You heard that right. Not $9.44. Not $944. Almost $1 million. It didn't look special to the untrained eye. It wasn't sparkling in a velvet box or sitting in a museum. It came from someone's personal change collection. Someone who might have nearly spent it on a coffee, but there it was, a minor variation in the die, a telltale shift in the lettering, and boom, an expert graded it, collectors competed for it, and someone walked away with generational wealth from a single penny. Let that sink in. But here's the kicker: that penny isn't the only one. Multiple variations of the 1997 D Lincoln penny have been flagged by collectors. From doubled ears on Lincoln's portrait, to ghost-like features in the Liberty inscription. Some are struck on older planchets, others misaligned. Some even show clear signs of mechanical doubling or weak strikes, invisible to anyone not looking for them. Did you know that over 4.5 billion pennies were minted that year, and yet, only a tiny fraction carry the exact anomalies that make them high-value collectibles? Think about the odds, the millions of coins in circulation, and just a handful of valuable errors hidden among them. So, the real question isn't, do they exist? It's, is one in your house, right now? So now you're wondering, how do I know if I've got the right one? Start by finding your 1997 pennies, the ones with a small D under the year. That D stands for Denver Mint. Flip it over and look closely. Use a magnifying glass if you can. Focus on Lincoln's ear, some rare errors show doubling there. Examine the Liberty and In God We Trust inscriptions. Look for ghosting, doubling, or even a slight tilt in the text. That if something feels off, even slightly, it's worth checking. The next step. Don't clean it. Don't polish it. Just preserve it, place it in a small plastic flip or holder. Then, consider submitting it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can authenticate the coin, assign a grade, and potentially certify it as a valuable error. Why is this so important? Because once graded, a coin's value can increase dramatically, not just in the eyes of collectors, but on the open market. Imagine selling a penny you found in your desk drawer for more than your entire annual income. Imagine telling your kids that something you almost gave away now holds the key to a better future. This isn't just about money. It's about recognizing the value in the ordinary. About finding hidden potential where no one else looked. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the legacy of what you leave behind, and the regret of never checking. So don't wait until someone else tells your story. Don't be the person who almost checked, but didn't, because your next big discovery, your $944,000 surprise, could be sitting in your old drawer right now. And if you're still watching, you're not just curious, you're ready. Ready to look closer. Ready to so go. Dig out your coins. Start with 1997. And remember, sometimes, the smallest things carry the biggest value. Your fortune may already be in your hands.